am. The things we make, in many ways, defines who we are. What we make has, in many ways, defined who we are as a culture, as the city that put America on wheels and innovated popular music. Detroit is the city that defined grittiness, and it defines artsiness. We made that word up today. But how we craft and produce those creative exports has become increasingly more important. Conversations about climate change continue to evolve, and a Detroit college that focuses on art and design is considering the role its students will eventually play. For over a century, the College for Creative Studies has been developing the next generation of talented professionals. CCS graduates and alum go on to work in transportation, film, animation, fashion design, and so many more industries. The college is holding a series of conversations that interrogates how artists and designers build a future that is more sustainable. Donald Tuski is the president of the college. He joins me now to discuss that mission and the series. President Tuski, welcome to the Metro.
Thanks so much, T. And I really want to thank you for having us here in WDET and Mary Sedina and your whole team for having us. And I certainly want to thank our team back at CCS who have been so wonderful and doing a lot of great things that I can report on today. And so it's wonderful to work with a great team and be here today and share what we're doing this year at CCS.
Love chatting with the professors at CCS. So President Tuski, art can at times be simply defined as the pieces in museums or decorations around the home. How does art and design show up in our everyday lives?
Oh, wait, I think everybody probably listening on this call and this radio program has been impacted by CCS alum, whether it's in entertainment arts and our film and animation alumni that are working there, certainly your cars that you drive or your appliances that you use, or when you go to the DIA, that you've run in across some impact or some artist or designer that's influenced your life or impacted your life. And so it's really an honor to be here to talk about what we're doing at CCS.
Yeah, and the theme for this season's programming is sustainable design and innovative materials. This implies a shift away from traditional approaches. What materials are traditionally used in art and design, and what has been the impact that you're trying to shift away from? Why are you trying to shift away from the old model and the old uses of materials to this new age?
Well, I think what's great about art and design and art and designers that we really do use a full range of materials, and so the shift is really just incorporating more technology, like we have been doing. Incorporating different ideas from different aspects of life. Artists and designers are great at picking up influences from the world, and so our artists and designers and our alumni who are working on great things are always picking up and being influenced from the world. And so part of the thing about an art and design school is really using all different types of materials, being more sustainable, being more thoughtful about what materials we use. And part of the idea we like to say is creating and designing for a better world. And that's really something that's been important to CCS for a long time. We work with a wide range of companies, but also a wide range of nonprofits and galleries and museums.
And Don, how important is the type of material to an art or a design project? How does it make or break a project? Or does it matter?
Absolutely. I think artists and designers spend a lot of time in terms of exploring and researching what are the best materials. We're very, very good at reusing and reclaiming materials. We do a lot of sponsored projects with Carhartt locally in terms of working with them on reusing materials that were left over from the production process to create new products. And so it's really important to make sure that our artists and designers are using the most responsible materials in the most thoughtful way, and as I said, to create a better world.
And Don, college presidents typically spend their time managing administrative duties, funding, and operational duties, but you have also mentioned your desire to teach one anthropology class a year. You have a doctorate in it, so this is a two-part question. Okay. First, do you still manage to teach a class?
I teach one class a year. Sometimes it's the anthropology class called People, Resources, and the World. Yeah. And then this past fall, though, I taught a class called First Year Experience, which is a first-year course that helps students from high school transition to an art and design school, because it's, number one, it's from high school to college, and number two, an art and design school education is very different than a larger education. It's very intense. There's a lot of work involved, and so that class really helps students transition to that. And then we also help them introduce them to a lot of different careers right away their first year. And CCS has a long history of really preparing artists and designers for great careers, like I said earlier, that has impacted the world. And many of us have experienced a CCS designer or artist, maybe probably not even knowing it, but it's probably one of our alums. If I listed all the different companies and different music and different types of film and photography and animation that our alums have recreated, we've all experienced a CCS alum.
100%. I've been able to speak with, dozens of CCS alums, so it's an amazing experience to feel. My second question, how does anthropology and biology inform the work that art and design students do?
Well, one thing about artists and designers is they're great researchers, and they really dive into their areas. And we actually have a graduate program in color materials. That's how important that is. But the anthropology, where I come, my perspective is that it really helps me understand all the different perspectives, and that it's really important that artists understand the world. And artists historically have been the first to really point out injustices, the first to point out the unknown, to represent people who aren't represented. And a lot of the artists that we're having visit this winter are actually artists who are really bringing attention to the unknown, and that's really important, and that's something that can never be enough done about.
I do want to stay here for a moment because you talked a little bit about that that transitional period from high school to college and how intense it is. Hearing you say that that's the first time I really heard someone say, the curriculum, the coursework, it's tough. So can you talk a little bit about that, about CCS, the curriculum, the coursework, and what people and students should be prepared for, especially if they're interested in attending?
Well, our faculty and staff are great in supporting students, and our connection to industry and to the nonprofit world and museums and galleries really also inform us what they're looking for in terms of creativity, in terms of out-of-the-box thinking, in terms of creating something new, authentic, or original, or we like to say, create that cutting edge, not just be on it. So as a student comes from high school to college, when you come to CCS, your studio classes are going to be 6 hours a week, and that's just one studio class. So the workload and the creativity, and usually the students love that because they're doing something they really are passionate about and believe in. And as I said a minute ago, they have great faculty and staff to support that. So the big transition is going from classes that are maybe 50 minutes long to classes that are 6 hours, and not just one of them, but several of them, because creativity just doesn't work from 9 to 5. It works 9 to 5 nights and weekends. And so our studios and labs are open enough. And so we really coach the student on how to make it the transition from high school to college, to be creative, to manage their time, and to really follow through on some career exploration while they're still a student.
Don, is it fair to say the way we define arts varies depending on the culture we were raised in? For example, in the U.S., an object may be a tool. It could be seen as a piece of art, but in another country, it has more practical uses. So essentially, do our environments provide a context for what is or is not art?
Yes, I think so. I think sometimes the conversation gets caught up about what is art and what is not art, and what is art and what is design. And that at an art and design school, we teach art history, global art history. And so we look at art history historically and throughout the world. And certain cultures, some cultures get more detailed about what's art and what's not art. But really, great design, everything's design, and good design especially, is an art form. And that when you go to the Detroit Institute of Arts, or you come to our museum, our galleries at CCS, you'll see a wide range of art and design. And some people will, we made the drawing of a car an art form in 1933. We were the first organization in the world to say the automobile is an art form. And now if you Google the automobile, you'll see thousands of beautiful cars, and any guy or woman that has a car that they really pride themselves on, it's an art form. And so that's just one small example. We're starting robot design at CCS too. That should become an art form and not just something practical. And so the need for artists and designers has always been there. And part of CCS's job and our great marketing department is getting the word out there more and more about what's happening at CCS and how art and design is needed throughout the entire part of society and culture.
You're listening to The Metro on 101.9 WDET. I'm Tia Graham. My guest is Donald Tuski. He is the president of the College for Creative Studies. From February to April, CCS is hosting a series of talks that center sustainable design and innovative materials. So let's get into some of those conversations in this season of programming. You will have painters, welders, experts in gaming, alumni who work in ceramics. There are a variety of disciplines included here. So how can the sustainability theme be maintained across so many disciplines?
Well, it's something that's important to all of our faculty in terms of sustainability. And so when students, we do a lot of what we call sponsored projects that we work with specific companies on how to create something, a design problem. And many times in a design problem, there's a sustainability requirement. And I mentioned Carhartt earlier, but also can be creating cars with interchangeable components that can be recycled more easily. So things like that. Coming up in March 19th, we have one of our biggest industry days. It's called our Industry Exposition, and that's where we have a whole number of alumni and companies from illustration, animation, concept design, and game design. And we actually have our students, and we'll have 100 to 200 students interacting with different companies. Some of them, our alumni, are there, having their portfolios reviewed and getting feedback from these companies. And that's really a great example where we're tying what our students are doing right now in the studio classes with what's going on in the larger world. And sustainability is really important. That's an important part of what industry is looking at and what CCS is teaching.
Thinking about what you're talking about, of course, but setting your students up for the industry and listening to you talk about some of the additions, robotics. And a few years ago, you brought in the fashion department. There are so many different things that you all are adding to CCS in order to not necessarily keep up, but like you said, to create these new spaces and places and jobs and access points to the industries. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of gearing CCS more towards the future and what we're seeing in terms of the industries that are viable?
Yeah, one of the great things about CCS is that we're sort of a full range or full service art and design school. So we do the fine arts and crafts, and that's why we have a alumni clay exhibition coming up on March 20th. But we also pride ourselves on, what's new, what's coming up that's a new approach or new way. That's where a lot of our design programs are headed with using AI responsibly. A lot of the product companies want students to be good with AI. They don't want AI to design the products. They want human designers to design them, but using AI. So that's something where we've been a leader in terms of using it responsibly and ethically. And so it's really important that we make sure our students get industry experience, whether it's in the for-profit world or nonprofit world, while they're still a student. And across all of our disciplines, we really pride ourselves on making sure our students get that experience while they're still a student.
Speaking of the Woodward lecture series, there are so many different things, once again, that are going to be present. One of the things that stood out to me, of course, was gaming. And I just thought, how are we going to talk about gaming and sustainability, or even learn about gaming and sustagaming? What are some of the things that we would take away from gaming and sustainability?
Well, one thing, it's a very big business. Gaming, esports, online gaming is huge, and so we have lots of alums that are working on that. We'll have alumni on that industry day that are from the game design industry, and that's something that is really important. And one theme that cuts across all of this and includes game design is the importance of storytelling, and that it's really important, whether it's a painting, a car, a piece of clothing, a purse, or a game. There's just a great story that's part of that, and that's something that it's really something that humans do really well. All of us are unique individuals. We're unique humans, and we have style, we have flair, things that AI doesn't have.
Exactly.
We've embodied knowledge, and so that's something that, as an art and design school, the world needs and wants more creativity, and it wants really authentic human creativity, certainly augmented with AI, but it's that human part that I think is really important. And being an anthropologist, I understand that human part really well, and that's something about all artists and designers. They really do have a good handle on that human part of being creative, and I historically have done that.
Is the series open to the public or just for students?
Absolutely. There's the whole lecture series is open to the public. We love having the CCS community welcome the Detroit community and beyond to our events, our talks. And it's all on our website on ccsdetroit.edu if you want more information. But we have a number of different talks coming up here that are really, really wonderful to
You're going to be doing one as well.
Yes, I'm doing one with one of our alumni, Paul Mobley, who's a photographer, and he's a really great example of really representing the known and the unknown. So he's done a lot of amazing. He photographs comedians, visual artists. He photographs musicians, actors that we all know. You could go on his website and see people. One of my favorites is his Cheech and Chong photograph he has. But he photographs J.B. Smoove, Jim Gaffigan, Kevin Bacon. But he also musicians. But he also photographs and does stories on firemen and farmers.
I definitely love that, and I love the fact that J.B. Smooth's featured in there. Love Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah. Donald Tuski is the president of the College for Creative Studies. President Tuski, thank you so much for joining us on the Metro.
Great. Thank you, Tia, for having us. I really appreciate your time. So thank you.
Thank you. Coming up, we'll talk to a CCS professor about the fashion industry's role in this conversation of sustainability. Stay right there. We'll be right back. This is the Metro.